All right, guys, I'm back. So I wanted to do a quick video detailing the differences between the J, used to be J Allen Enterprises, now it's owned by MDT, the JAE G5 versus the G4. So the G5 right here, MDT just came out with this a couple weeks ago, and at a significantly lower price point than the G4 was originally, and then they lowered the price on the G4 as well. And so it left me wondering, and a couple other people wondering, well, was it a significant downgrade? Did they cut some corners? Is it different? And overall, no, it's the same chassis. It has not changed in any major appreciable ways, but there are a few differences between the G4 and the G5 that I really like, and I think it's a step in the right direction. I think they're moving towards a chassis that's it's kind of like ready to go. You don't have to buy a bunch of accessories and stuff like that to get it where you want it. One of my favorite new features that they put on there is they have a bag stop now. So I don't know if this is the best format for doing this, kind of review as far as like a video goes. Probably be better if I held the camera and went over some of the stuff, but I've already got it on the tripod, so I'll try to show you guys the differences as best I can. The major, I guess, fundamental difference between the G4 and the G5 is the G5 doesn't have the adjustable magazine well. It doesn't have this piece right here that can move back and forth that adjusts for the tension of your magazines. And I'd like to think that that's because magazines, like the standardization of AICS pattern magazines, has come a long way. And so, you don't have these mags from different, manufacturers and stuff like that. Obviously, MDT makes their own mags, so I'm sure that's what this one's spec'd out for, even if there are some differences. But now that we've got more rigid specifications for magazines, I don't see that as being necessary anymore. The one thing that you do get in return is on the G5, you get MDT's adjustable magazine latch. So this has a screw on it that moves up and down and adjusts the height of the magazine so it locks in to where the magazine is presenting the round to the feed ramp on the action at the right angle. Staying on the G5, now you've got an integrated ARCA rail. So on this G4 that I have, I actually bought the accessory ARCA rail and switched it out. I'll show you what that looks like. This bolts in, and it's kind of a cool design. Like I think you might be able to put weights in it. It's got kind of like a honeycomb pattern on the back of it. You can't really see it on the original one. This one goes up in there a little bit farther. And I think one of the, I'll get into the balance thing in a second. But yeah, so this is actually included, on the G5. If you didn't see it before, this is what it looks like on the G5. Okay, so now into the balance thing. If you look at the bottom of this, you notice there's like no holes in it at all. Just these holes that I guess hold it on there. I guess it is removable now that I look at that. There's a lot less material machined out of it. In fact, if you look inside the 4-end channels on both of them, you'll see that the G4 has more holes in it. So there's more material in the G5. And that gets me to the next point, which is, I don't know if you guys can really tell, but make sure I'm holding the right one in the right hand. The G5 has polymer spacers in the butt. This one, the G4, has aluminum spacers. So because of those two things that I just mentioned, the balance is different on the G5. So the G5 is more front heavy. And obviously, being a PRS chassis, that's what you want, right? Your barrel is going to make the biggest difference on that. But more weight forward is better. And that's a change that we saw with the ACC Premier Gen 2. They made the buttstock simpler and lighter. They made the forend stiffer, and it shifted that point of balance forward, which, is a good thing for, getting onto barricades and, loading your bag and stuff like that. Some other minor differences, something that I actually appreciated a lot. If you look on the on the G4, you'll see that this is knurled right here. So when you're shooting and you've got your hand back here, now, this is a short action chassis, so you're not going to be shooting anything, super heavy recoil. But, that knurling is kind of like digging into your hand a little bit. I don't know. Maybe I have soft hands. Maybe people like that kind of thing. But I could see, you holding on to this thing, you're in an awkward position, and you shoot, and your hand kind of slips and, starts shooting up your hand, after, 10 stages or whatever. They got rid of that on the G5. So it's smooth now. You can still get your hand hooked in there pretty good. So if that's your thing. Some people like a flat toe on the stock. Some people like the hook. I kind of go back and forth. Sometimes I like the hook, sometimes I like the flat toe. I guess it depends on what style of shooting I'm doing. It came with the more vertical of the two grips installed, but as far as I can tell from the accessories on the bag, that the vertical grip is basically the same. It's, virtually unchanged. It matches the same on this side. Make sure I put the stuff in the right box, because this is getting, I wanted to do this video because I'm actually sending this out to a customer in like an hour. Here's your angled grip that goes on the G5, so they're basically the same. They come with these palm shelves. Both of them do. This one's over here somewhere. Yeah, so both of them come with these palm shelves. This one, they basically just sent a different configuration. This one is the G5, this one's the G4. They're the same. See, you can see on the length right there. So like I said, overall, there's not any like major changes. There's some badging changes. Let's see, the G5 says MDT on one side, it says J on the other side, and the G4 actually doesn't have any badging except for on the cheek riser. There's some, looks like the knurling is a little bit different. This was like almost looks like a machined knurling. I don't know if you guys can see that. Probably to cut down machining costs. This looks like it was done on like a 5-axis with live tooling and all that stuff. That's very expensive machining. This almost looks like roll knurling. So a stationary tool on a lathe just comes up to it while it's rotating, and it basically presses the knurling on there. So they did a couple little things, simplifying the forend and the machining time and stuff on the forend. Not only did that add, forward weight, but it also reduces the cost, the time to machine. So the step down in price makes sense. It's not a step down in quality. I can tell you that when you pick this up, for those of you guys that don't know, the big thing about the J chassis, its kind of claim to fame, is that these panels, this is all aluminum, and then these are glass filled nylon or whatever. And I guess I'm not exactly sure because I've never taken one of these all the way apart. Maybe I'll do that in a later video. There's rubber dampers that absorb recoil basically, and so people say this it feels more similar to shooting like a Foundation, or even maybe like an older, like a Macmillan or something like that. I guess a lot of people complain about the vibration and the flex in like the ACC chassis because it's all aluminum. They even sell those rubber dampers that go into the back. Personally, I've never noticed it. I don't know. I guess I'm just not that good of a shooter. And I have shot behind one of these. I shot behind the J4, and it feels great. It feels like you're shooting a, big heavy Macmillan 5-o'clock stock or something, but you've got all the modularity of a chassis. So that's pretty much it in a nutshell. There's, you know, some minor, like I said, some machining cosmetic differences, like the hardware is, you know, it's chrome plated. I think it's nitrided or something like that on the other one. But there you go. That's the differences between the JAE G4 and the JAE G5, in case anybody was wondering. See you guys next time.